Unicorn Aquafonic Crustacean Galaxy. Hello, this is Curtis with the Playing with Art show, and today I'm going to show you my refinishing of my cardboard desk. Here's an overview of how the desk turned out. This isn't what I expected, but I'm really happy with what happened, and I was kind of leaving it open to what worked out with the paint. And I'm lovingly calling it the Unicorn Aquafonic Crustacean Galaxy finish. The project started with my existing cardboard desk, and I covered it with a student grade gesso, and I found a little bit of cracking occurring, so I went back and tried latex paint, and that worked pretty well, but there was a couple cracks, so I did a test and found out that both latex paint and gesso don't like PVA glue, and I did a test here to show you what happens. It basically cracks with that underneath it. But I also found, interestingly, that it didn't crack when I put it over matte finish Mod Podge. For the first layer of color, I just did some random crayon scratching, and I just allowed myself just to just improv and just grab whatever color inspired me and just fill an initial layer. I knew this was going to mostly be covered up. I went back in with acrylic paints, and I would just sprinkle and smear using rubber gloves. And some layers I would mix the cool colors, and then I would let it dry before I added the warm. Here I'm adding a little bit of the white to the red to soften that intensity of the red. And now I'm going in with some pieces of paper and just kind of sponging up some of the paint and creating collage paper and giving it a little more texture. And I'm drawing circles on the collage paper and then cutting those to cut a series of circles. So here I'm sprinkling those cutout circles of the collage paper onto the panel so they kind of fall in a random pattern, and then I'm going in and gluing them down. Now I'm coming back with some watered down acrylic paint and just kind of spreading that around randomly with a brush. Again, I'm just going free form, just spontaneous. I've not done anything like this before, so I'm just kind of playing with the materials. Here I'm kind of letting it drip a little bit, going in with some paper to make collage paper and sopping up some of the extra thing. Here I went in and just to drop some white gesso on there, and I'm going in, I'm wiping some of it off. And at this point, I'm not happy with how it looks. It looks really, really muddy, and I'm thinking I maybe didn't wait for it to dry long enough. And that brings me to the painting you journey. The beginning of a painting, everything seems happy and bright. As you progress forward, sometimes it gets really muddy and painful. And then eventually, if you stick with it, you get back up to the other side of the U, which is being happy with your painting. I learned about that concept from artist Lisa Cogden, and I find it really, really helpful because it kind of helps prevent me from giving up on a project, which is when it gets really ugly and muddy, that's what I usually want to do, is just abandon it. But the best thing to do is just trust that if you just stick with it, it will eventually resolve itself. Now here's where the magic happened, which I was unexpected, is I let it dry completely, and then I went in and sprinkled some white latex primer paint onto it with a brush, dripped and drizzled, and then went back and used the paper and pressed the paper and peeled over and over on the surface, and that's what created this, what I call this crustacean, or kind of aquaphonic, almost like fossil-like texture, which again was totally unexpected. I hadn't done it before, but I was super happy with how it came out. I painted the edges yellow, but then went back and added green on top of that. Once everything was completely dry, I went back and covered the whole thing in 2 coats of matte finish Mod Podge. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see the video on how I made the desk out of cardboard, I'll put a link in the description. Unicorn.